Hello, everyone. Greetings from New Guinea. Thought that this afternoon we might sit down and make a tape for you all. Today is the 6th of July, Sunday afternoon. I just finished services here at Tiliba, and we decided to make this tape so that we can get it to you in the next week or two so that it could be played to some of the visitors that you might get from Canada. Thought it'd be nice to have a tape for them, and then at the same time maybe you could all get together and make a tape for us again and send it back here to New Guinea. We enjoyed your tape very much, the last one that you had sent us, and of course it's always nice to hear your voices on tape again. I realize it's sort of difficult sometimes to get together and make one, but really once you get going it doesn't take very long at all. We're very happy to report that we're all well at this time and getting along very well here. Time is going real fast now. This week on the 11th of July we plan to take off for a couple weeks to Wewak, which is on the coast of New Guinea, and spend a couple weeks vacation. So we're really looking forward to that. It seems like it's been a long time since we had a break here. Been pretty busy since Vic and Elsie were gone, and then of course before Jan and Ed came back we were here alone with the Brums for 6 months. So that sort of kept us hopping, and there's a lot of work to be done around here, so it'll be good to have a good break. We also want to do a little shopping out there and send some things home in anticipation of our coming home next summer. So it seems like this is a good time to do that. We hope to have a little time for swimming and buy some ice cream and some goodies that we don't usually get around here, and sort of just take things easy for a few weeks. Marilyn's been quite busy in the maternity again the last week or two. She was pretty busy about 3 months ago, and then it slacked off for a couple months, and then she's starting to pick up again. But that's sort of a business. Oh, let's see. I want to tell you about what I've been doing the last few weeks. Ever since Ed's been back for a month now, I've been pretty well in the bush every day working the sawmill. Been trying to get this order out for the government. I have almost 12,000 super feet cut now. We have 19 altogether, so I still have 7 more to cut. I might be able to cut 2,000 before I go out this week, and then have about 5,000 left when I come back. Got all kinds of plans for after that. We want to start building a hospital in January, so I've got to get a bunch of lumber stacked up before then. We want to build sort of a workshop and a wood drying shed, so that's going to take a little bit. And we could do all the business we wanted to. There's a store down at Nipa that wants to buy timber, and there's the government that would buy as much timber as they could get a hold of, but we just going to finish this one order for the government, 19,000 super feet, and then mask any other outside work, or forget about any other outside work, and concentrate on our needs here. But it's been quite an experience going up there every day, and it's just like going to work back home, where you leave in the morning and come back at night. Things have been going quite well. However, I have had to move the outfit about 3 times now, because we have to move up to where the wood is. They bring the logs to where the sawmill is, but then sort of when they run out and they have to go, or there's none in the area, then we have to move to the next spot. But I plan to move once more next week, and I'm moving into a pretty good area where there's lots of good timber, I think. And so I shouldn't have any trouble for the next month or so. I should have plenty of timber. One of these days we plan to build a native church out of more permanent materials, 2x4s, and put a permanent roof on it. We thought that this would be very much appreciated by the natives to see that that they are getting benefit from the sawmill too, and not just the Europeans having these nice houses and stuff and good buildings, but that they too are going to get a benefit from it. They're going to supply the timber, and we're just going to cut it, and then sort of help them build it, put up the framework, and then they could put up the walls with the native materials, but the framework would be out of 2x4s, and there'd be a permanent roof on it. We thought we might even put up a water tank so that they could have water in the local village. Well, I understand that in 1 week from today you should be having all kinds of visitors in anticipation for camp. I understand it starts the 14th, so things ought to be really getting pretty exciting out there by now. People should be arriving this week. I understand there are some people coming from Canada. Joanne had written and said they were coming, and I think Dad had mentioned that there's quite a few coming from Bremen, so if any of you are listening to my voice at this time, we send greetings to you all, and we're glad that you were able to come down to Portland and be at the camp. Want to invite you down for next year when, Lord willing, we hope to be at Western Camp also. We're really thinking about you in this next couple weeks when you'll be together there in quite a number and fellowshipping together and serving the Lord there at camp and learning more of His Word and His will for our lives. It's really quite exciting, I think, to get together. It's been 5 years now that we've been to a camp, but we really are looking forward to being at all three next year. I hope they don't happen to be at the same time like they were last year when I think Western, Midwestern, and Eastern were on the same week, and Vic and Elsie had to sort of split their week and go from one camp to the other. There's quite a few other things I wanted to tell you, but now my mind has gone blank. So, I was going to tell you about our trip home. We have got all kinds of reservations made now for coming on this ship. We're going to be leaving Sydney the 12th of June, and we'll be arriving in Honolulu on the 22nd. I think it's 11 days on the water, and then we'll be flying from Honolulu into Portland. So we've pretty well decided to leave Tiliba here on the 7th or 8th of June, spend a couple days at Lae and spend a couple days at Sydney, and then of course on the ship for the next 11 days, arriving in Portland probably the 22nd or the 23rd of June. It seems sort of silly to make arrangements so far ahead of time, but this is the way you have to do it on the ship, because they have two classes, the tourist class and then the first class, and if you don't get any accommodations in the tourist class, you have to go first class, which is at least 1/3 more expensive. So we thought we'd sort of get going early, and even so we got a cabin that was sort of way down on deck number E. That's the further down you go, it's not as good because you feel the rock and the roll of the ship more. But we're quite satisfied with what we got. I haven't seen it and we haven't ridden in the ship yet, but we'll find out next year how it turns out. We plan to sort of make arrangements for coming back before we leave here, so that we get the benefit again of the tourist class. The girls have been real good the last few weeks, and they've been pretty excited to know that they might be getting a little brother or a little sister at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. We're quite excited about this, and we hope that things work out okay. The girls have been, like I say, pretty excited about it, and they've been talking about it. Gary's getting to the age now where she really starts asking questions and really seems quite interested in a lot of things. And we really have quite a group of kids here now at the mission. The Brums have 3, and the Stages 2, and our 2. So there's lots of friends here, and of course Carrie doesn't want to be left out. Any of the adults do something, she wants to be right there, so we know she's growing up. She's having her birthday here in a few weeks. On the 25th of July, she'll be 3 years old, so she is really quite good for her age. We've been in New Guinea a long time because, let's see, we've been here a year when she was born. So, and then she'll be 3 years old, so we've been here 4 years already. And it seems like a long time in some ways, but in some ways it seems to have gone by real quickly. Today we had a service here. I don't know if I've ever mentioned about how we run our Sunday services. Usually one of us stays here at the mission, and the close to villages come into the mission for their services. Ed went out to a village about 7 miles out with a bicycle. He has to walk about 45 minutes after he parks the bike. And I stayed here, and we have a morning service, and we have at the same time a Sunday school for the kids in the play stock. And then after the main assembly, then we split up. We just sort of have some songs and verses and the reading of the scripture. And then we split up, the men and the women, and then because the group is so big, see, we can't sort of have a good discussion with the group so big. So I usually take the men, and then Marilyn usually goes with the women. Then we have sort of a 45-minute service, each of us. And then after that's over with, we have a baptismal class for the baptized believers. And then after that, we have a class for the men around the area here who want to be baptized. They come in here on Sunday afternoon, and we have sort of a class with them, instructions class. And so it's quite a long afternoon. We started this morning about 10 o'clock, and I just got home at 2:15, and I usually go without having anything to eat. So it's about 4 hours straight of services every Sunday. But we feel it's quite necessary to have these extra believers classes in the men's class, because during the week it's sort of difficult to get them all together, and especially with their having to work on the road, or they're having other business or work at home, we just can't sort of assemble them together. So Sunday seems to be our best day. We talked to Vic last Saturday, and they're planning to come out here in August. I guess the last 2 weeks in August is when they have school holidays. So they're all planning to come out here except Mickey and Timmy, who will be staying with their grandmother. They were out here in May, August, and then of course they'll be out here again in December, for all of December and all of January. This is when the Australians have their school holiday. This is when they have their summer holiday, December and January. It's opposite to what we have in America. But Vic has been out here just about every month, but Elsie has only been out here since they left in January, in May, and she will be here in August, and then again in December. They seem to have their hands quite full there. They have about 7 or 8 children in the home besides their 4. We have 2 native couples here from Tiliba who are out there now working for them, doing their housework and being their interpreters. So they have some help, but it's a little different than having a family of 4 to have a family of 12. Well, I see this first side is getting to a close again. I'll say that I was very glad to talk to you all again, and we're looking forward again to next year. Pray that the Lord would bless you on your stay in Portland, and that the Lord would bless you on your trip home, protect you and guide you. And may He keep us safe and keep us in His care until we meet again next year. Tonight we plan to get together at Jan and Ed Stages for supper. We always get together, all 3 families, for supper on Sunday night. And Sister Brum, Grandma Simon, is planning to make us some good old chicken paprikash with halushka. She's made it a couple times before. Yes, a couple times too, and boy, it really goes over quite big. We're really quite happy with it. December and January. It's opposite to what we have in America. But Vic has been out here just about every month, but Elsie has only been out here since they left in January. In May, and she will be.
Um, I have to tell you again, this is the third time we've started this tape. This side, I mean. Larry tried to say it once before in Hungarian, and he had to stop the tape because he couldn't remember how to say it. But Mother Simon's helping him brush up on his Hungarian. She knows quite a bit, and when they get together they talk so that he will be able to converse with you when he comes back. Everything he tries to say comes out in Walla now. It's really funny, though, how that happens, because I know a lot of times. So I was working a crossword puzzle not too long ago, and the words that popped into my mind were Walla words and not English words when it would ask for something. So the language kind of gets in your blood after a while. It takes a while to get it there, but once it's there, it's there. We hope, yeah. Dave and Mary are still working at it. Sometimes they get kind of discouraged. It doesn't come too fast. But it does take working at and using it every day. Larry mentioned that I've been very busy, and I have. This past week, in 4 days, I had 4 babies, and 3 of them were within 24 hours. And they were all at night, by the way, so that meant I was pretty exhausted by yesterday. So Jan and Mary both offered to do baking for me. I was out, and of course couldn't run to the corner grocery store and get a loaf of bread, so they both offered to help, and also to keep the children up at their places during the day. So I would get up for about an hour and do a few things that needed doing, and then be so tired and go back and lay down again for a while. And then I slept real good, though, last night, so I feel much better today. But both Larry and I are going to be more than ready for our vacation Friday. It just seems like the pressures build up, and of course as long as we stay here on the mission, there's no place to get away from the responsibilities. Somebody comes to the door at all hours, and even if it's nothing important, it's still being bothered. And like I said, the only way to get away from it is to leave the mission. So we're looking forward to Wewak. It's on the north coast of New Guinea, whereas Lae is on the east coast. And it's a very warm place too, and the place where we're going is a Baptist guest house, and it's supposed to be right on the ocean, right on a little bay where they can go swimming, and it's only about a block or so from the beach, and the girls are just delighted and are really looking forward to being able to play in the sand all day long. And we have some shopping to do, but our main object in going this time is just to rest. We are both so tired. We're going to take lots of books along for reading and just do as much sleeping and reading as we possibly can. Since it'll be another 10 months or 11 months before we leave on furlough, we're going to need our rest up. Also, we want to get some native artifacts while we're out and get those sent home so that they'll be there by the time we get back. Wewak isn't as big a place as Lae, and so shopping won't be as good, but we're not very concerned about that this time. Like I said, we want mostly just to rest. We really have enjoyed having Mom Simon with us. She's been a real inspiration to us in lots of ways, and she's been a real big help. Dave and Mary have been kind of messed up for the past few weeks, moving out of Stage's house into Slaughter's house, and they lived there for 4 weeks, and then last Monday they moved into their new home, but it's far from being finished. And so they're living out of boxes and barrels and everything, and she's just been a real morale booster for one thing, and also a big help to Mary in getting things settled and helping with the cooking and just the little things, dishes, things that need doing. Mary has a girl working for her, and so far she hasn't proved to be terribly efficient. All of the rest of us have boys, but Mary thought she might prefer a girl, and so she decided to try, but she's not terribly happy with her at the moment because she's not very speedy. And it's awfully hard to have someone working in your home that doesn't do things just like you like them to be done, which is never the case with these native helpers, I'll tell you. But anyway, that they can learn at least some of the things to do pretty good. But uh, Mary's been finding herself doing an awful lot of it by herself. And of course, that takes time too. She isn't having school right now with her boys. They're on their summer holidays. But so she just has 3 women's Bible classes a week for about an hour and a half each on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And right now that's her only outside activity. But they're going to really have some working to do yet to get that house into shape. They don't have any doors on and no drawers, and the bathroom's still not, the plumbing's not hooked up, and the living room is completely unfinished. No, inside doors, yeah. Well, they do have their outside ones. And no cupboard doors in the kitchen and this kind of thing. So, but at least they are in the house, and Dave's just going to work as he can to get it done now. Jan's back in full swing with the medical work again, and busy, and they seem to be fairly well adjusted again by this time. She said they were really quite anxious to come back, that they found so many unhappy things in the States that, and in a lot of ways they figured their children are so much better off out here, and I know ours are. They aren't exposed to all the junk on television and the garbage that they hear in the streets and things, and we can control their environment so much more, and the children are so happy. I thought the Brum children, being as old as they were, might miss a lot of the things they had in the States, but they hardly ever mention it. And they really seem very happy here most of the time. Becky and Jenny have decided they're going to be missionary nurses when they grow up, and Timmy's going to be a missionary pilot, he says. So the children, as you can see, don't resent their life here on the mission, and this is what they'd even like to do right now when they grow up. Of course, that all could change, but the thing that makes me happy is that they aren't dissatisfied with their lot here. And really, they aren't missing out on a lot. There are some things that would be nice for them to have, but they get along quite well with what we've got here. And I think they learn to appreciate little things a lot more than our children do when they grow up in the States with so much. Carrie and Jenny are both growing up so fast, and I know that Carrie is growing up. This noon I washed the girls' hair as soon as we got home from church, and Jenny wanted hers put up in rollers, and Carrie asked to have hers put up too, and for the first time she left them in. Usually as soon as they're put in she pulls them out, but I guess she must be growing up. She wants to be with the older kids most of the time now and go where they go and do what they do. So it's about time we're having another one. They're both looking forward to a baby. Carrie always says she's going to feed it orange juice. I'm still not really certain about where I'll go this time to have the baby, but I'm quite sure we won't all be going out to lay like we did last time. For one thing, it's too expensive for the whole family to go out for an indefinite period of time. And for another thing, it will be so close to our going home on furlough that we don't feel like we should do that. So I'll probably go out by myself to wait for the baby. And I may just go to Hagen, which is only 25 minutes flying time from here. They have 6 European doctors at the hospital there, and not a big European ward, but big enough. One of the women from the Methodist mission will be going out next month there to Hagen to have her baby. So I'm quite anxious to talk to her and see how things go for her. And then if it all works out, that's probably where I'll go. And then possibly after I leave the hospital, Larry and the girls could come out to join me just for a few days before we would come back to Nipa. But almost for sure the whole family won't be going out again this time. We will have to go out, though, to have our smallpox vaccinations anyway, so Larry and the girls, like I said, will probably come out, and then we'll have those vaccinations before we come back to Nipa. Oh, it's so exciting thinking about that just in 11 months we'll be leaving Nipa. Now when we look back on it, our time here has gone terribly fast. There were times when it seemed to kind of stretch endlessly before us, and yet the Lord has been so good to us and given us strength for every moment. And we've been very busy, and so when you're busy, of course, it's much easier not to get homesick. And the Lord knows all things, and He's just taken care of us so wonderfully in every way. And now we're just praying that He'll keep each of you and us until we can meet again next year. Goodbye.
Here I thought she was going to finish it. Trying to think of something to say here. We've been having real dry weather here for the last month, really. We've only had 5 inches of rain in June, which is sort of abnormal because we usually get about 12 or 15 a month. So we've been sort of low on water. In some ways, the stages have been out once or twice, and the brums have been out a little bit. We do have a couple springs nearby the mission, but the water's sort of hard and is not as nice, of course, as the nice rainwater. Of course, the girls don't like to wash clothes in spring water because it is so hard. And but we've been just having enough to sort of keep us going here, and I think things are picking up a little better now. We're having a little more rain than we did have a period where there was about 12 days without any rain at all. And we've had some days that only had 5-6 points or so. We finally got a rain gauge. So that now we're able to check the rainfall every day. Whereas before we used to have to, we didn't have anything. The Methodist Mission has one, and they'd sort of give us the information sometimes. But it's sort of interesting to know how much rain we have. We have so many showers, so that, I mean, there's no two places that measure alike. So it's good to have your own. Otherwise, things seem to be going quite well around here. The Christians are all well. They seem to be progressing spiritually. We have classes for them in every village, so that they can get more instruction, so that they can learn, and so that they can grow spiritually. This is important, of course, in a culture like this, because they've had to make such drastic changes that if we sort of don't feed them continually, they'll have difficulty in really staying true to the Lord. So, but we've been really thankful that things have worked out the way they have. No real difficulties, except for a few small ones, and we're quite happy for that. There's quite a few more now that are ready to give their testimonies. I don't know exactly when we'll start listening to testimonies again, but it probably won't be till the beginning of next year. And then we'll have to go around to all the villages again and listen to testimonies and baptize the ones that are ready. We've had some real good success with the teachers that we've had. They've showed a lot of improvement and growth in the last few years, and they, of course, are the real representative of the mission between us and the people. They take the messages back to the people, and we go around and visit all the people, but we're not as close to the people as their own teachers, their own people themselves. So they've been doing a real good job, and they've been, of course, a very important part of this work, and they've really taken on some real responsibilities in a lot of cases. We don't know exactly what the schedule will be for the next few months, but it looks like more of the same medical work, and I'll be working on the sawmill pretty well full time. There's rumor of another young fella coming out here from Phoenix, but we'll have to sort of wait and see on that one, and be good to have him come to sort of help me out in the bush, but we'll see what happens by this fall. We've been getting sort of caught up on some of the current news back in the States from Jan and Ed. They've sort of told us about some of the things that are happening these days. Some things are not too good and some things are not too bad. We're looking forward to coming back to visit all the people again and see everyone. It's sort of difficult to picture ourselves back in that situation again. It's been so long that we've been away from it. I suppose it won't take too long to adjust back to good old American ways of living and American food and all that stuff. However, we've got certainly no complaints with the food here. We've been having plenty and more, and been living real good. Still get sort of hungry for some good old ice cream sometime, which can't be available. Guinea. Thought I'd sit down today and start a tape for you. I would like to get it done in the next day or two so that we can send it off to you before Christmas. We've been thinking about you so often and been meaning to send you a tape for so long, but haven't really got around to doing it. Today is the 7th of December afternoon. We're just getting ready to go up to the Brum's house for supper, and just thought I'd get this tape going. We didn't have a tape recorder for a long time, and we don't have one in the beginning. Dave and Mary have two of them, one real good one and one sort of mediocre, and they said that we could use the other one. It's battery operated, or it could be hooked up to the power. So at night, when you're using it, you can just hook it up and you don't have to use the batteries. Well, for a long time we couldn't find a microphone, but I found it last night, so we were able to make a couple tapes. Make a couple tapes for the folks in Portland, also to Maryland's folks. Well, everything is fine here in New Guinea with us. We're looking forward to the Christmas season, looking forward to the activities that will be taking place, and things do sort of really happen around here. It seems like there's so many things happening that sometimes it's just too much. You just sort of get lost in all the activities. We've just had a spell of company. You knew that Grandma Simon came over with Jan and Ed Stage in last June, and she was here for 6 months, not quite 6 months, 5 months. And then Ruth Simon and this Nancy Ballich from Mansfield came over, got here October the 9th. And they were with us for 7 weeks till the 26th of November. So we had quite a bit of company there for about 7 weeks. And we had a very nice time with them all, and we had some real nice fellowship. They were quite a big help, too. Nancy was teaching the Brum kids their school. They have correspondence, And Ruth Simon was working in the clinic with Jan, so they were quite busy. They were able to sort of get around and see quite a few things, and they really seemed to enjoy their visit very much. From here they went to Port Moresby, and then from Port Moresby they went towards Hong Kong and Tokyo. They should be home by now. They were able to meet. They were supposed to meet, or they were trying to meet folks who were just coming to Hawaii at that time, who are on their way to New Guinea. This is Dave Brum's folks, who will be coming here for about 4 months. He will be making our new hospital, and we hope to get started with it in the next few weeks or so. And like I say, he'll be here for 4 months, and we'll be doing quite a bit of the work around here. They're supposed to get here the 11th of December this week, and then the 12th and 13th of December is when Vic and Elsie come back out here to Tiliba for 6 weeks over the Christmas holidays. Then we're expecting John Bob to come around the first of the year for New Year's, and he'll be here for 2 weeks, so we should have plenty of company in the next few weeks. Our Christmas is sort of quite uncertain at this stage. Marilyn is scheduled to go out to await the arrival of the baby on the 12th. You probably got our Christmas card by now. Incidentally, those went back with Ruth Simon. She took those back and then mailed them in Phoenix, and we were able to send all kinds of Christmas cards. It cost the full rate from the Guinea. But she's going out the 12th, and then the kids and I are scheduled to go out on the 22nd. We were all supposed to go out on the 22nd, but when she went out to see the doctor said that she better come out a little earlier than we expected. So now she's scheduled to go out the 12th. And of course, we don't have any accommodations till the 22nd, so we're going to have to stay home until that time. Now, if the baby is born before then, she'll come home, I guess, before Christmas. However, if the baby's not born till about the 17th or up till the 22nd, we'll go out the 22nd and come back probably after Christmas in time for John's arrival before New Year's. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, and we hope that everything works out all right. As we get into this Christmas season, we're thinking of ahead to next year when we hope to be back in the States, and as we mentioned in previous letters, that we hope to come up to Canada around New Year's, right after the Christmas. After we have Christmas with our families in Portland, we'll come up to Canada and visit you all. Spend a couple weeks up there just right around New Year's. So we're looking forward to that, and it doesn't seem very far off anymore. 6 months from tomorrow, we hope to be leaving here. We hope to be leaving Tiliba. So time is getting pretty short now. We're getting to be what we call short timers. We're getting pretty itchy to go. Getting pretty excited. However, there's a lot of water going to run down this creek before that time. But if time goes as fast as it has gone in the last 4 years, it shouldn't take too long, and I think we should be on our way soon. Things have been quite busy around here for the last few months with all these visitors and whatnot, and of course, like with Christmas coming up, as I mentioned before, things should be quite exciting and busy again. Just want to tell you a little bit about our program here. We just started a building not too long ago. It's our wood drying shed. We are going to be building this big tin roof where we can stack lots of timber underneath so that we have no problem with timber. We have someplace to dry it. It seems like it rains here every day, and if you don't have any sort of a place where you can stay for weeks and weeks without getting wet at all, then it'll just sort of rot after a few months. So we need a timber drying shed, and then on the one end we're going to build sort of various 4 rooms we have in mind. We're going to build, the one would be a store. We have a little store now which is part of the old clinic, but it's sort of small, and the clinic is going to, or when we build a new hospital, then of course the store will be alone and it will be more subject to theft. So we're going to build a store into one room, and the other room will be a motorbike storage room, and one other kind of big room we'll have for woodworking and for mechanical. We have to fix the motorbike, so if we have to make any furniture, then we'll have a place to sort of stretch things out and build things. And the 4th room will be just a regular storage room where we put cement, nails and plywood and all that stuff. So we'll have a special place to store stuff so that we don't have to store it or stack it in the corners of the places where we're going to work and have to work around it. So it'll be quite a nice little place. Dave just got it started. And of course, Godfrey Brum will be working on that just as soon as he comes. So that'll be one of his first projects. I've been working on the sawmill quite steady now for the last few months, ever since May, I think, actually. Not real steady, but I've been going up there and sticking with it, sort of thing. I have cut about 20,000 super feet now for ourselves, so we've got quite a little stack of timber ready for the hospital. Of course, we're building this building that I was mentioning to you before, and that'll take some timber. We're also selling some timber to this storekeeper down at Nipa who is building a new store. He'll also have a post office. We had promised him quite a while ago that we'd help him out with some timber, so we have to sort of stick with our promise. But that shouldn't take too much, so we hope that we have quite a bit of timber already stacked up for the hospital. I've been able to rent this tractor in exchange for timber, and I've been hauling. I hauled home about 27 loads, which would be 27 times 8 miles a trip. So it's quite a few miles I've made with that tractor now. But I can only haul when the road is perfectly good, or when the weather is dry, or when it hasn't rained for several days and the sun has shone real brightly after the roads are dried up. I've tried last week. I've hauled 13 loads home last week, but it was so terribly muddy, and some of the roads don't have any stone on or anything, and it's just mud, and the tractor just digs right down in some of these hills. But I hope to get most of the timber hauled home before Christmas if I can. And then I'll bring the engine home and get the planer all set up, and we could get some timber planing floor for flooring or whatever we might need for the new hospital. Things have been going quite well with the medical program. It's been quite busy. The girls have been having quite a few new medical or new maternity patients. However, it's been pretty slow the last few weeks, and of course the girls have been quite happy about that because it's been plenty busy enough without having all kinds of maternity patients in here at one time. They're going to be quite glad when they get this new hospital, especially this new outpatient clinic. It's going to have plenty of room, and it's going to have lots of storage space for their medical supplies, and it's going to be really a good addition to our mission group of buildings. We've been starting to listen to some testimonies. We hope to have some baptisms while John comes. I think I mentioned that before. But Ed and I have been going out on Fridays and going to various villages and listening to testimonies all day. Some of the Christians in this area have been very, very, or we might say critical, I guess. They really want to make sure that the people that want to be baptized, or that you just even want to give their testimony, are really saved, are really converted, and have really repented of their sins. And so they really want to, sometimes they're even harsh, or really critical about everything that they say and do, and I guess this is quite normal in every society, but they especially are really critical, and they really almost want these guys perfect before they can even give their testimony. So, which I think in itself is quite good, because that way we won't get a lot of people baptized who really shouldn't be, or they, of course, we after they give their testimonies, then we have sort of a meeting with the Christians from that particular village, or his or her particular village, and we, sort of have a vote among the Christians to see if they all think that this particular person is ready for baptism or not. And so it's really quite a work of the whole church. It's not up to us entirely at all. It's up to the Christians, the local Christians from each village. And so it's not, as I say, entirely up to us. And we really stress upon them the importance of really letting the Holy Spirit tell them and to lead them in showing who is ready to give their testimony or ready to be baptized after they've given their testimonies. Side number 2. Meantime, we had a little sleep. This is the 8th of December, Monday morning, and getting ready for another week now, and we're just got up and made a fire, just like we used to do in the olden days, get up and make a fire first thing in the morning. One of our boys just came in. It's 6:45. He just came in and is making a fire now for washing clothes. We have a special little tub outside. It's a little burner thing, and actually it's a copper tan with a barrel underneath it, cut off barrel, and he makes a fire and heats up water for the wash. We usually wash on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we have a special boy that comes and helps with our regular houseboy with the washing these 3 days. Just made a clothesline not too long ago. We used to have just regular wooden poles and bury them in the ground, and then put one cross piece across the 2 poles, and then stretch lines between the 2 cross pieces. But it seemed like every 2 years replacing the clothesline, so I sort of gave that up and went and got some 2-inch galvanized water pipe and put them in the ground in some cement. So now we're pretty well set. I don't think there's a lot for quite a few years to come. We usually don't have too much trouble with clothes drying. The mornings are always usually nice enough to have all the clothes dry. Sometimes, however, if the wash is just a little bit late and they don't get things hung up till about 11 o'clock, well, 12 o'clock we'll get a shower or something, and it's sort of have to take the clothes off the line and then put them back on again when the sun comes out, or just leave them out till the next morning and put them up first thing and then dry it the next day. But usually the same day the clothes dries, and in the afternoon the boys usually iron. Once in a while, when we have real bad weather, it's cloudy all morning, or it doesn't really rain at all ever in the mornings. It might be cloudy. It might drizzle a little bit first thing in the morning, but when the weather's bad, it really sort of starts raining about 11:30, 12 o'clock. You can just about count on that. But normally it doesn't rain till we might have a shower in the afternoon, we might not. And that's the way it goes. Then in the afternoon they iron, and he usually does most of the ironing. In fact, I think he does quite a bit of it, except some of the fine stuff, which Marilyn does. We have this kerosene iron. It's a little Coleman iron. There's a little tank on it, and you fill it full of kerosene, and it burns away and heats the iron. Some missionaries have these things that these old hot irons, you stick them on the stove and they get hot, and you just keep changing them, and keep replacing them. But we found these to be quite satisfactory, so we've gone ahead with these and use these. they're not messy at all. They're sort of not too dependable sometimes if the generator gets plugged up while we have to replace it. But that's about the only thing that could go wrong with them. Planning on going up into the bush again today to do a little sawmilling. Got 2 weeks left before Christmas here, and I'd like to get enough logs cut, or not enough, but I'd like to get some cut before Christmas because I'll be shut down over for about 2 weeks at least while we're gone, or while Marilyn is gone, or she comes back or something. I'll be off for 2 weeks. We'll be having quite a few pig feasts over Christmas, so we'll be going out to the villages and whatnot. And don't feel like working during the holidays. These guys, they sort of shut down about December the 1st and then go back to work about January the 15th again. Of course, their work isn't quite that important. The road work and stuff like that is what I mean. Their work that they have to do for the government. I got quite a few trees cut down ahead of me, and it's sort of good to cut these trees while they're sort of green yet, while they still got some sap in them. So I want to get up there and get these cut, or most of them cut, before I do close down. I'm going to bring the engine home when I finish up there and do some planing here at Tiliba. Our planer is set up here, and we use the same engine for the sawmill as for the planer, so we only have really one engine to maintain. But I want to get some planing done because we need some flooring and we need some just 1x3s and 1x2s for trim and whatnot, and so it'll be good to have some nice plain timber. It's really nice to have this stuff. I remember the day when we used to have to cut this stuff with this big pit saw, this big 7-foot hand saw, and the guys never used to cut it straight or right, and we never had a planer, so we had a hand plane every little piece that we needed. And I remember how we used to save every little piece that we could get a hold of, boxes that we got from various places. We used that, and it was a mess. But now at least you got something to work with, you know, even if it's not perfect stuff, at least it's sawing timber, and it takes a couple times through the planer, and it's nice. It's real nice, you know, and it's really quite a pleasure to work with. Well, we're certainly hoping that everyone is well up there and all settled down for your long winter's nap. And we never really did hear too much about the harvest, what happened, and what you did, and how many bushels you got, and how much you were able to sell. I understand you got quite a bit on hand right now and nowhere to sell it. It's sort of unfortunate. You got all this land and all this wheat, and you can't sell it. We haven't got too many letters from any of you for a long time. We could certainly do with a little more. But I think maybe this winter, now that the work has slowed down, or I guess it's slowed down, maybe these winters you guys, with your snow plows and whatnot, just keep as busy as you do almost during the summer. I understand Cal and Lydia had moved to Saskatoon for the winter to do some work in Saskatoon. I would imagine, though, that you come out quite often to the farm, especially over Christmas. There's probably no work in the school over Christmas. You get the place cleaned up and sort of close the doors, and of course there's probably repair jobs to do and whatnot. They'll probably keep the janitors busy all year round. Well, we hope you get out to the farm anyway and get to hear this tape. Special greetings to everybody from us. Greetings to Fred and Willie Priegers. I understand the Ostermeyer boys moved to Edmonton. Joanne writes us quite often and has been keeping us posted on the news up there. That's going to be sort of a real big hole in your group there, with those two big families moving out. St. Louis is sort of almost drying up. Louis Rivas is probably
still working down south in southern Saskatchewan, is he? How about John Ostermeyer and Lizzie? Does Joe Kuhn ever still come around? That's just about the extent of the group up there, except for these Kopanyashes. I wonder if you'll continue to go up there as often as you have. What's the deal with Arthur and Andrew Kuhn? Are they still around town? They haven't decided to move out yet, have they? How's Steve Kuhn doing and his family? Tell you what you'll have to do is sort of see if you can get more families to come to church, like Charlie Megasees and Steve Megasees and Julius Lasician right across the road there, and August Blazek and Johnny Blazek. Of course, these people that we've been trying to get to come for a long time, I guess they might not be too interested in a changed life. They like the old life too much. I guess this is the problem everywhere. They love the flesh, and they love the idea of being able to live as they want to and not according to the leading of the Holy Spirit. Well, we certainly hope that the group in Bremen there stays reasonably large and reasonably well. The Lord will provide strength even if there are just a few families, and I think you can still be a real witness there and a real testimony to the community there. Lord willing, when I come back next year, I hope to bring my slides along, and maybe we can have several evenings running of slides, and maybe try and stir up a little bit of interest in the area, and hoping that there'll be more people who would be interested in knowing about the work in New Guinea. In the meantime, you just keep up the good work and keep the home fires burning. I better leave a little bit of room here for Mel. Would like to say a few things. So I think I'll say goodbye for now. The Lord bless you all, and the Lord be with you all. Hope you have a very blessed Christmas, a very happy New Year, and we're thinking about you and we're praying for you. Pray that you would pray for us and remember us and do right to us. We need your support in that way too.
Hello, everybody. When Larry said he was leaving me a little bit of tape, that's exactly what he meant, just a little bit. And I didn't hear now what he said before, so forgive me if I repeat. We do want to tell you how much we think of all of you up there, and how much we're looking forward to coming up and visiting. The girls can just hardly wait to see the farm with all its animals and tractors and things. They're very, very excited at the thought of that, and they talk about it a lot. So we do hope very much that we can get up there in the summertime first to see you. And of course they want to meet all their cousins, the ones they've never seen, or not since they were little anyway, Jenny, and get acquainted with everybody again. We do want to say down and say that our hearts have been with you in your problem with Gary. I'm sure that it hasn't been an easy thing to have to leave him at Saskatoon there when you know that he's not happy. But we do pray that the Lord will help all of you, and if that's not the right thing, then to find a good situation, a good solution to your problem. We know that he is able to take care of everything in this too. And we hope, Cal, that you're happy in your new situation there in Saskatoon. It's hard to think of you not being on the farm, but if this is what's best, well then we hope and pray that the Lord will bless you in this new venture. Will any of you be able to come down for camp, so we'll be able to be with you there more? We do hope you can, although it's a long way, and in the middle of the summer, who knows. I'm leaving on Friday, as Larry probably told you, and I'm not looking forward to spending that time alone, but It just seemed like this is the way it worked out this time, and so we can't do too much about it. I do hope, though, to do a lot of sewing while I'm waiting, and then that should make the time go more quickly. And then if the baby doesn't come right away, then we'll spend Christmas out there together. Larry probably told you about all the company we've been having. It seems kind of strange because when we first came, we would have given anything to have people from the States, and now it's almost getting to be a regular thing. As much as we enjoy it, we really are thrilled. And perhaps you've heard that my sister Ruth is thinking about coming in May. She and Judy Rivas. And we really hope they do, because we hope that this will help Ruth somehow spiritually too. And it will be a big help to us to have her here those last few weeks when we're so busy packing and things. And the girls are just delighted at the thought that she might be coming. It will really be fun having a baby in the house again. The girls are big enough now to be able to take care of themselves pretty much, and so they're looking forward to having a little baby. And they, of course, always speak of brother, but I have to caution them that it could just as well be a sister. Anyway, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and we look forward to